evening and welcome to this Wednesday edition of the Island Stat Sports Show. I'm your host, Earl Baston. Joining me as co-host, Jason Ford. And we are joined by two members of the Bermuda cycling team that competed in the Dominican Republic over the past weekend in Connor White and Caitlin Conyers. Hopefully Nicholas Narrowway will join us very, very soon. The other member of the team, which is Caden Hopkins, is over in Europe and probably well asleep at this time. But first of all, guys, congratulations on your performances over those days competing in the Pan American Championships as well as the Caribbean Cycling Championships, Pan American Road Race Championships. Caitlin, for you, COVID's been a stop-start for probably everybody, but coming off of what you were considering a relatively great year in 2019, 2020 was kind of shelved. What were your expectations of yourself going in to this event, the first international event that you would have been taking part representing Bermuda again?
Yeah, well, it's been a journey to get there because it was scheduled for April, then it got moved to May. It's been changed about 4 times. So we've just kind of been staying on edge, waiting for Peter to tell us, we're ready to go. But I was defending champion for the time trial for the Caribbean Championships. I had won in 2019. There wasn't a 2020. So I went in with, the goal of maintaining the title for the time trial, and also my speed goal of 26 miles per hour, which I have hit for the first time in an international competition, which was really exciting for me. The road races, it's still something that I'm working on. Positioning for me is a real block, and I gotta just get some more confidence and get myself at the front of the pack. But yeah, it was a really good experience, and it was great that they had the Pan American Championships as well, because the more experience that all of us get in those regional events, because the Caribbean sometimes isn't as big. But if we get exposure to the kind of the South American, Central American countries, it's always a really good experience. So yeah.
And we are joined by Nick Narrowway. Good evening, Nick. How are you? Can you hear us, Nick?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, good.
Apologies.
No problem. We're going to go back to Connor. Connor, what were your expectations, not just for yourself, but team expectations going into the entire event?
Well, we had put pretty big expectations on ourselves because we knew that we were capable of medaling and getting those spots for Cali. So we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to do well, and we managed to do well with that pressure, and I managed to secure a spot. Unfortunately, there was only one spot for the Caribbean, so even though Nick was second, he wasn't given a spot. And then Caden did really well in that Pan American TT, so it was a really good job by Bermuda. But with myself, I knew that I was capable from how I was doing versus previous years, that I could win that race, and it's just more about executing it, which I managed to do well. So I'm happy with it.
And Nick, being the youngster on the team, how did you feel going in? Although these guys aren't too much older than you, but the fact that you're the young one, but you've done the Junior Caribbean Cycling Championships and so forth, or you've done junior events. How did this senior event kind of get into your psyche of now I've got to step it up?
Yeah, I think it's just a completely different level than the junior races. And I think this year I didn't really know what to expect coming into it with my level and all. But I think everyone has that kind of self-pressure that they put on themselves. And so I think we all kind of aim to win and get those medal spots. So I think with my performance, I was pretty happy with it, and especially happy with how Connor did in his TT. So it was a good weekend.
Good. Jay?
Hey guys, thinking with COVID being predominantly the last couple of years, training. How you guys been managed to train and try to be optimal when you come to these, obviously these events? How's your training been going and to be at peak form for these events? And each one of you can answer that.
To be honest,
Do you wanna go first,
I've been
Kayla?
in the States quite a bit for the last little bit, and races have been happening. There's another wave at the moment with the Delta variant, but the US is pretty open. So training has been quite, kind of normal. Bermuda, I think prior to leaving, I was doing a lot of trainer stuff. We were in lockdown in March, and this was actually scheduled for April in the beginning. So I was doing a lot of indoor training. My longest weeks on a trainer was like 14 hours on an indoor bike, which was rough. But Bermuda's been relatively open, so I've been lucky to be able to train outside and have at least small groups. We were, I think, down to about 10 people were allowed to train together. So when everyone was in Bermuda, it was all right. So training's been okay. It's just the uncertainty around the races that's tough.
Right.
Connor?
So with like COVID last year in 2020, there was no racing. It actually allowed us to get in a lot of hours that we wouldn't have otherwise gotten in with all the racing going on. So we had like a really, really training heavy year, especially Nick, Kate, and I. We were all training together in Bermuda. So that actually probably paid off a lot this year. And then I was in Canada for my last year of university. So I was training on the trainer for 3 months straight, doing a couple of 3-week blocks all on the trainer because Canada was pretty strict with all their COVID rules. So I got a lot of high quality training done on the trainer, and also did some high intensity racing as well on the trainer. So then now that once we went back to Bermuda, we were pretty open. So we were able to get some racing under our belts. So it was pretty good preparation for these events.
And Nick?
I think I can consider myself pretty lucky. I've been at high school until May, and I had a good group of friends and teammates there that we could really push each other. And then after that, I've had some pretty hard United States races. Since it's open, it means that the level of competition is really, really good. And I think that really helped prepare me for the Caribbean races.
Well, let me ask, how does Bermuda benefit you guys in training as opposed to other places? What are the differences? I know in other places like United States and Canada, you probably have a lot of different guys and girls that will push you. But how does Bermuda benefit your training in that regard? Is the hills the one that kind of gets you, when you're fatigued and here comes a hill, unlike in the U.S. or in Canada, as many hills, as challenging hills. Nick?
I think Bermuda's pretty good. I mean, the weather is always unreal compared to any other place in the world, I think. And the terrain's super punchy, which is very good for training because you can never go easy. It's always hard.
What about you, Connor?
One thing I find with Bermuda is that, especially for Caribbean races, the heat and humidity definitely get you prepared because our race wasn't so bad because it was earlier in the morning, but Caitlin was racing in 110 degree weather. So training in Bermuda with the heat and humidity definitely gets you ready for that, because I've had experiences going from Canada in the winter to the Caribbean and it didn't go well. So being in Bermuda before the Caribbean definitely helps you acclimate and perform better.
Caitlin?
Yeah, the only thing I would add is that Bermuda also just has a really, really strong cycling community. And talking to a lot of the other Caribbean nations, they don't all have that. We have really strong group rides, a couple of team rides during the week that people can join. And, those are hard and they're really good training. So I think that benefits us, especially compared to other Caribbean nations who don't necessarily have that central community of people that really just like to ride bikes and push each other. So,
Jay?
What's next on the agenda for each one of you guys? Is it's more competitions, or is it going back to do some training? What's next for you guys?
I think
You
all
can
of
go,
us,
Connor.
it's a lot of racing. Go on, Connor.
So I'm doing 2 of the USA Crit races this weekend. So I've got a race on Friday and a race on Saturday. And then I'm not sure if Caitlin's going, but Nick and I are going to the Joe Martin stage race. Are you going, Caitlin?
Yep.
We're all going to the Joe Martin stage race next weekend, so the 26th to 29th of August. And then we're also all going to the Green Mountain stage race on September 3rd to the 6th. So we've got quite a big block of racing coming up.
That Green Mountain used to be around the same time as Bermuda Day, isn't it? Because you guys done that, or people used to leave the day of the race, leave and go to the, what was it, 5 stages of Green Mountain?
I think it's a different one because Green Mountain is always around Labor Day.
Oh, okay.
But there is another stage race, I think, possibly the Gila. I don't know, but that happens in May normally.
Oh,
But
okay.
those ones have been postponed. So there's
Right.
another one at the end of September that I'm going to, but I'm not sure. I think
I'm
Nick's
going as
going.
well.
Nick's going, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Well, a lot of traveling around the U.S.
Okay, so cycling. Why did each one of you choose this particular sport? Nick, with a smile.
It's kind of a long story, but I'll make it short. A lot of people remember me as the kid that was always crying because he didn't want to ride a bike. And I was always forced to go to bike races and stuff,
Mhm.
triathlons and all that.
Mhm.
And I think I sort of just got used to it. And after a couple of years, I kind of just found a weird love for it. And ever since, I've just couldn't stay off my bike. So
Oh, okay. Caitlin?
I mean, yeah, it's been a little random. I did triathlons when I was a kid in Bermuda, but I moved back in 2016 and got back on a bike in 2017 at the age of 28. So it's a little late to be starting a semi-professional career in a sport, but it is what it is. And then Dominique Mayo started coaching me in 2018, and my goal then was never any of this, but I ended up being pretty good because I just sat on his wheel every day. And yeah, since then I absolutely love riding my bike. I mean, I love the competitions, but more than that, I just really, really love riding my bike. So yeah.
Okay. Connor?
I've been riding a bike for since I was a kid, and I started off when I was like 14 or 15 doing the Fat Tire Massive mountain bike series, and then I slowly transitioned into doing some road bike riding because Peter Dunn lent me a bike to use, and then I started liking road bike a lot. I like the whole process of training and just like suffering in the training and then racing and just the whole I don't know. I like to suffer on my bike, so I guess that's one aspect that makes you a cyclist. But yeah, I don't know. I just like it. I like the community around cycling. I like going to competitions, competing, and just a lot of fun.
Okay. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we have some pictures of you guys on the podium. We just want to go over what it felt like to be on that podium and what those races meant to you. We'll be right back.
We're welcoming back the often featured Whole Food veterans Bragg Live Food Products, renowned for their live probiotic organic raw cider vinegar and savory seasonings. Paul Bragg is the man behind the products that has originated health food stores, restaurants, and spas, and promoted nutrition education through the media, helping lay the foundation for the enlightened way we make healthful choices when we shop for and prepare food. This month we're featuring Bragg Organic Raw and Unfiltered Apple Cider Vinegar and Organic Extra Virgin Olive Oil. Lindos, why go anyplace else?
And welcome back. Well, as we indicated, there were some podium places taken. Connor, this is you after winning on the 13th. I believe this was the time trial one?
Yeah, that's the time trial, the U23 Caribbean time trial photo.
Yeah. Just being on that podium, big smile. What did that race mean to you?
Well, it meant that all the sacrifices and training that I've done on my time trial bike in the last year has paid off, and it's nice to have a result that shows that it's actually paid off. And it was even made extra special having Nick on the second step next to me, because it shows that Bermuda is, or our time trialing is one of the best, if not the best, in the Caribbean. So it was really special.
And Nick, he just brought it up. There you are, standing next to him. What was that moment like for you, and what was your race like?
It was a bit of mixed emotions, to be honest. I don't consider myself a time trialist, and I know a lot of other people don't either. But I managed to pull out a really good race, and standing on that podium was kind of just more of a shock than anything else. But having Bermuda going 1-2 was pretty cool, and you could kind of walk around and see everyone looking at you. It was a good experience.
Good stuff. And of course, Caitlin on the podium.
I mean,
Big smile, even behind. You could tell, big smile, even behind the mask.
I'm a bit upset that I didn't get a picture without the mask, because clearly you were allowed to. But yeah, no. There's another one without. I was also wearing Nick's shoes on the podium. Thank you, Nick.
Oh, you wrote yourself right out of your shoes?
They wouldn't let me wear my sandals. So.
Oh.
No, but it was a really good feeling. I think in 2019, I had no idea what to expect when I won the time trial. And so that was huge for me, just to show what I'm capable of. And in that race, I had a flat, I went the wrong way, and I still won. So this year, everything went well. I didn't have any mechanicals, and I could tell while I was racing that I was doing well. You know, if you pass people, it's always a good feeling. So yeah, I'm really grateful to be have the gold medal again, and yeah, to do Bermuda proud.
Jay?
Now, with all this success for you guys, each one of you guys, who is that person that's always pushing you guys to the limit? Who's pushing you hard? Who's that person in your life who say, you know, this is not good enough? Who's that person?
Anyone want to go first?
You can go, Nick.
All right. I wouldn't say it's just one person, to be honest. I'd say it's probably a mix of a few. Between Dominic Mayo, I mean, he's pushed me my entire junior career. My coach, Justin, in the US, giving me all those really hard training rides. And also Caden and Connor. They've been my training partners all of last year and my best friends. I think that we have a really strong team, not just in the race, but also outside of the race. I think that just brings us all together. We all know what we're going through and what we're aiming for as well. It gives us something to keep pushing. So,
yeah. Caitlin?
To be honest, I would say I am my biggest, I am.
I know.
You know, sometimes other people will say, oh, no, it's okay, you don't have to do it. And I am out there. And I really do. I like to push myself. And I really, you know, I'm kind to myself, but I'm also hard on myself. And I enjoy competing. But yeah, I have a great support system around me. I don't think I have the same level of expectations or the pressure that some of the juniors that have come up in cycling have on them. So for me, it's kind of, yeah, it's me pushing myself.
Connor?
I would also say, like, this is similar to Nick. Like, it's not just one person. Like, I mean, the Bermuda cycling community in the entirety is always pushing us to be better. Like, the group rides, whenever we're going on them when I was younger, just like everyone pushing and pushing, just hoping that you held on for longer. But I mean, also like my parents also push me. Like my dad, even though if I do well in a race, he's always like critiquing what I could do better. And I know he thinks, I know he knows like I take it and go back to training and be like, okay, I can do this and do this better. So yeah, it's just, I mean, Bermuda cycling community and all, and then also my parents and also myself. I put a lot of pressure on myself to do well as well.
Mm-hmm. Now, Connor, you mentioned earlier about how successful Bermuda has been in the time trialing. What would you put that down to?
I don't know, just being disciplined with training, I guess, liking all of us somehow liking time trial the best, even though it's the worst thing to do when you're doing it. You always hate you hate doing it, but you like it afterwards. I don't know if I put that well, but whenever I'm doing a time trial, I always question why I do time trials, and afterwards I'm like, okay, it was actually not that bad.
Now, earlier this year, there was the individual time trials, and then you had team time trials. Caitlin, which one is better? Which one suits you better, the team time trial or individual time trial, and why?
I never actually got to do the team time trial here, which was too bad because I really do enjoy that. But I think the thing with the team time trial is you really need a group of people that are all around the same level, that are, really willing to push themselves. And yeah, so for me, I'd probably say the individual time trial in the Bermuda context. It's the team time trial away on pro teams. You also do on a time trial bike, which I've never done. And yeah, you have to have really good trust in one another. But yeah, I would say probably the individual time trial.
Mm. What about you, Connor?
I mean, we don't really get to do team time trials too much. Like we do one per year maybe in Bermuda, and overseas I've never done one. So like individual time trial is more like I like the constant effort, but team time trials when they come around, they're just fun to do. Like you just get to have a good team together and just go as hard as you can. So it's more team time trials are more just for fun and like just a break from actual time trials, and then real time trial, like individual time trialing is where I do my best, I guess.
Mm. What about you, Nick?
I think it kind of goes the same as Connor. It's normally at the beginning of the season and you're just getting into racing again. And I think it's a good, fun thing to do with your friends or your teammates. I've never done one outside of Bermuda like Connor or Caitlin. So I think here it'll definitely be a big difference, but at home, it's just a good, fun opportunity to ride your bike.
I do want to ask, especially Connor and Nick, as you're both in the running, what competition would you face in the Pan American Games now that we have a spot? Would it be similar to what you guys faced this time around, or will it be different competition?
I think it's kind of hard to say because we don't really know who's going, but I think the Pan American road race is it's a better indicator than the Caribbean, because the Pan American road race also has the same countries going to the Pan American Games. So I think the Pan American road race is probably the best way we can compare ourselves. So the level of competition is going to be high. So we got to bring it up to the next level.
Right. Now, you and Caden got, what was it, 10th and 11th? I've always talked about this, especially when we go to international competition. What would be ideal for Bermuda cyclists to have maybe 3 or 4 people in a group and work it out, as opposed to, I know, unfortunately, Nick, you crashed early, right? Yeah. But having that strategy to kind of put yourself in a position to finish higher. Yeah. Would that be more comfortable?
I think yeah, especially this year it was tough because there was only 3 of us, and all the South American teams had 5 or 6 riders with dedicated lead out trains for their sprinters. So we were kind of just free riding between the peloton, just seeing where it goes. So I think next year especially we could possibly have a full team of 6 going with Liam and Xander coming up. So I think next year we're going to have a very strong team, and I think we can go toe to toe with all the South American teams if we end up going to the next Pan American Championships.
Sure. And Caitlin, it's always 1 or 2 females. How do we encourage more to want to compete at that level?
I mean, I think for everyone, but women especially, the age from about like 15, 16, people fall off. And, maybe a lot of, in the US, a lot of it is people coming from different sports later in life. So after university or, towards the end of university. And for women cycling, it's very different from men's cycling in the sense that you can do it later in life. Like the men's cycling, a lot of time you need to be in it from young. Whereas I think in the women's field, there's a lot more people that transition to cycling later in life. Not quite as late as me, but, later than 18. But I think, there are a lot of programs in Bermuda. Anton Gilbert got the Bermuda Cycling Academy from, age 7, and there's a bunch of young girls coming up through that. And Peter has his young group from about age 13, 14. And so hopefully they stick with it. And hopefully, having a female in it right now will help kind of, encourage girls to stay in it. And I can only hope.
Final question, Jay?
Yeah, guys, last week we had the Golden Child on Philadelphia on last week. So where were you guys, each one of you guys, where were you when she won gold medal? Where were you? You had to know where you was. You had to watch the race. Where were you?
So I was at a team camp in Colorado, which is in Boulder, where she actually lives. And nobody knew what Bermuda was. Barely anybody was watching triathlon, but I was like, we have to watch this. And so, it was really cool to hear Bermuda talked about and to explain, this is our first gold medal and second medal ever. And so, it was pretty special.
Nice.
Connor?
I was at home in Bermuda, sitting in my living room with my entire family, watching the race. So that was pretty nice to watch at home in Bermuda with everyone.
Okay. Nick?
I was actually on the drive back from Intelligentsia Cup, Chicago, driving back to Virginia, and I was like just watching the on my phone the whole race, just praying, and she did it, and it was just amazing.
Yeah, there was a lot of praying going on. You weren't the only one. Well, guys, I want to thank you very much for your time. Congratulations. Job well done. We look forward to your next competitions. Obviously, Connor, yours is this weekend, and then all 3 of you in action next weekend, and then at the end of September. So we want to wish you all the best in the very near future. And we'll keep a track on what it is you're doing and making Bermuda proud, okay? We're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to be joined by Gavin Manders and Tariq Simons talking tennis. We'll be right back.
We're spotlighting our old friends Woodstock Farms, who started up 50 years ago in the belief that we need more trustworthy natural food sources. Starting with one product, their line, mostly certified organic, is now more than 250 strong in 10 categories. This month we're featuring accoutrements of the barbecue, for us the pinnacle of home cuisine and one of the few forms of restorative recreation now within our reach. Try Woodstock Organic Sweet Relish, Tomato Ketchup, Baby Kosher Dill Pickles, Sauerkraut, and Hickory and Original Barbecue Sauce. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
And welcome back, Tariq.
How you doing?
Okay, how are you?
Yes.
All right.
I'm all good,
You're
man.
making out.
Last night, quarantine.
Yeah, your hair has grown over the last, 2 months?
yeah, it's definitely getting up.
Yeah.
It's out right now.
Well,
so it looks.
Well, let's start back with the Davis Cup and then move forward, because obviously It's been a journey for you, first coming out of the COVID stuff and all the like. But for you? What was the Davis Cup experience like?
It was great, man. It's a family environment, especially coming from a place like Bermuda, where everybody's so close knit. And even James, who I knew pretty well, I got to know him even better over the week. I think it was over in Tampa at the Sandra Bullock Tennis Academy. I love all the guys, man. There's no bad energy there. It's all love, really.
Mm. And then you head to Florida, and you're playing on a tour in Florida. Take us through your thought process of this particular tour. Why did you pick this particular tour of Florida to kind of get your feet wet?
Because it was close. Because it was close and it was in a familiar environment. Bermuda's a small island and it's not the closest to anywhere with a high level of tennis, really, except for the U.S. and Europe so far. So we went to Florida and it was good. I knew a few people from there, so I saw a couple of guys that I was already familiar with at the tournaments. I actually didn't play any of them, but it just helped to give me an environment that I was more comfortable with. And Gavin had family there, so we had a place to be put up for a few days when I wasn't playing tournaments within the weekdays. And I mean, it's Florida. It's hot. It's a climate that's similar to Bermuda, so I was able to adjust to that pretty well. And I love the heat, and it's the summertime. It's just grind out there, but it's a familiar environment. To answer your question simply.
Okay. Jay, any initial question?
Well, Tariq, good seeing you again. Tariq, good seeing you again. Very quick, you just mentioned about Florida heat. How are you making up the Florida thunderstorms in the afternoon?
Not the best, It's not the best. It definitely helped me get off from some training with Gavin in the evening times when he's telling me like two today, and we get our morning session done, and it rains all afternoon. It's crazy, man. Like intense weather storms. So that was interesting to see in comparison to what we get in Bermuda. I guess it wasn't that much different in certain times of the year, but it definitely helped me get some time off to regroup mentally. But lack of court on less time on the court in the afternoons, especially in the tournaments where I might have to play another match the next day or finish the next match the match I'm in the next day because I couldn't finish it due to the rain. So just little adjustments that had to be made in between there. But I think it wasn't that bad.
Now, the first weekend you played in the tournament, how much of the mental strength for you needed in order to make it through that first weekend? Obviously, tougher conditions or tougher opponents because your level it has to be all the time up top. So, how mentally for you, how did you adjust to that?
It was a lot. Different scenery, different people, different environment. Everything that you could think of was different. So it took me some acclimatizing there, and unfortunately, I couldn't bring the best out of myself in the first tournament. The guys were at a good level. I'm not ashamed to lose into them. They put in work like I do, so kudos to them. But
We lost him for a little bit. See if he comes back.
That's a thunderstorm, man.
No, he's back in the island. He's back in the island. Let me just run through some of his tournaments, Jay, because as he said, he's not ashamed to lose to a couple of those guys. In his first, you're back. Go ahead, Tariq. No worries. Yeah, you were saying that you weren't ashamed to lose to some of these guys because they put the work in.
Yeah, man. It's a grind out there, and everybody's trying to accomplish the same thing. So losing to people like those, it's not that bad on me. But I definitely would have wanted to.
Mm. Yeah, in his first game, Jay, the first weekend he played, he went down a straight set 6-2, 7-5. However, the following weekend he came back and he was able to pick up a win on that and come from behind to do so. Adjusting to because you were playing a lot of clay court, right?
Yeah, started at Davis
Yeah.
Cup.
Yeah, pretty much just like Davis Cup. But the strange thing in Bermuda, we have two clay court places.
A little bit more than that, but it's definitely a larger number of hard courts. It's some at Tucker, some at Stadium, and some at Coral that I know of.
Right. So the adjustment of playing clay at a high level and an adjustment of playing hard at a high level, how did you kind of work on the variance?
It took a solid dent into my strengths. Not fitness, obviously. Clay is a little bit in my favor on fitness because it's harder to move. Takes a little bit more out of the legs than hardcore usually, but I couldn't move as well as I usually can, which is a bit of a downfall for me. So I had to rely on other aspects. It did pay good dividends though. My serve got better significantly actually over the course of the couple of weeks that I was playing. And the last tournament was hard court, so I had to make the adjustment back to hard court. But I loved it all. I think I enjoyed the clay a lot more this time around. I don't know, maybe I was just on it enough that I got used to it before I left. But the clay definitely has its own little nicks and gadgets. But I'd take the clay any day. It was my preferred surface before I left, I would say. I've had good results on it in the past. Obviously, it was a long time since I had played those, but I like the clay, so yeah.
Jay?
Tariq, you had mentioned the mental differences, and I'm just trying to get a picture of some of the things you may have learned from other players, because especially with tennis, some players don't want to get too high, don't want to get too low. Some players can be hyped up to play. What did you learn while you was away as far as your mental approach to the game itself?
I had to find a good balance within myself when it comes to the emotions that I have on court. I'm traditionally an amped up player. I love all the energy and the roars and all of it. I try to keep it under wraps though, because it can turn things a bit in the opposite direction. It doesn't make sense making a lot of noise and you're losing. So it's important to be smart within there. I have my own. Everyone has their own balance, not just in tennis and overall competition and in life. You have to find a little gray area where you can think clearly and still give out the energy that you need to compete. And I think I have a good balance where I am. It was tough adjusting while I was out there though, because new environment is nerves and everything, just new people, new eyes everywhere. But after the first tournament, that was all behind me, and I think I found my balance again, better than the first tournament at least.
Jay, if you've ever watched Tariq during a coaching session or just around the courts, you wouldn't think it's the same person when he's got the racket in his hand and it's competition time, because he goes into this focus mode, but he can't stand still. He just can't. He's like an Energizer bunny, even when he's not serving. Again, Tariq.
Earl, let me stop you there, Earl. Earl. I have seen Tariq in both settings.
Okay.
He had Little Jai a couple years ago, and to see him around the youngsters, and at that time she was barely taken to anybody, but she loved some Coach Tariq, so she always wanted to go see Coach Tariq. I'm saying, well, it's quiet. But then when I got to see him play, I'm like, hold up, this ain't the same guy. The energy that he had. I didn't know where it came from because I knew his dad, and his dad's not that guy. So I'm saying, well, where did you get this from? So yeah, I have seen both sides, and I haven't seen you lately, so I will say that. But I will tell Jai that I did see Coach Tariq.
Good, man.
What would you say, Tariq, you have been working on to improve your game? Is it more backhand? Is it more forehand? Is it more trying to beat a longer rally or putting your opponent away a little quicker? What have you been working on to improve your game?
It's a mixture of everything. Between putting my opponent away quicker when I can while still staying true to myself because I'm not that much of an aggressive player. I'm obviously not a big guy, so producing power like that is a bit more difficult for me. I can lose my range a little bit and start missing more. But my strengths, at least for the last couple of years, have been my speed and fitness. I can get everywhere and I can do it for a long period of time, wear my opponent down physically and mentally. And those have been my strengths throughout. So I've been honing those and keeping the level, maintaining them, but also having what it takes, like mentally and physically, obviously, to put the ball away when I get the opportunity. Because a long rally is nice and all for taking my opponent's legs and their mental energy, but if I don't win the point, then it doesn't really matter, you know? So it's that I'd say putting the ball away earlier or when I can. My net game always used to work. You can ask anybody. And my serve is, as I said, has gained a lot more power over the past little bit. And so I'd say my speed, my fitness, I've been working on that a lot with Bakari at Spartan Sport and with everyone at MTM through our group sessions and all. But to put it simply, maintaining everything that I have in abundance already, like speed and fitness and agility, athleticism, and gaining other attributes like a big serve and better volleys.
Jay?
You know what, Earl? I've always wanted to ask, especially somebody in a sport like tennis, because sport like tennis, once you come from the juniors and you get to the seniors, you just play seniors. It's not by height, it's not by weight, it's just seniors. So you just mentioned, you're about what, 6 feet? 5'11", 6 feet?
No, I'm about 5'9".
Okay, so even 5'9". So what happens when, I want to know, what happens when you're playing somebody who's 6'5", 250,
It doesn't really matter. If I can get the serve back, then I don't really match.
And then so once you get the serve back, game's on.
Yeah, I mean, the serve, I actually played a guy like that. Unfortunately, he was a tank, not just because of his size. He was a big guy, but his serve and everything he had was a weapon. He's the best player that I played over the course of this tour, and it was fun playing him, I swear to God. He ran me up and down. We both had fun with it. Obviously, I was playing to win, but finding a way to win was the objective for me for the most part of that match. But it does happen. But for the average guy who's that big, returning the serve is the first mission, and then we see what happens through the point.
We're going to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, Tariq, we're going to talk about the MTM family and what it means to you and what it's meant to you over these last few years. We'll be right back.
John Barrett & Son, Bermuda's favorite distributor of fine beverages, has brought us a new and refreshing thirst quencher just in time for the approaching warm weather. Hint Water in 7 luscious flavors. Hint Water is slaking the thirst of active people who need pure hydration, low on the glycemic index, and want the kind of taste experience that keeps them coming back to try the next flavor. For those who've been giving water a miss, Hint may win you over. Hint Water. No sugar, no additives, all flavor. Lynn knows. Why go anyplace else?
And welcome back. Well, Tariq, having the fortunate support by the MTM family, a lot of tournaments have been going on, a lot of tennis has been going on, a lot of coaching has been going on. What has this organization meant to you? I believe he's frozen out, Jay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe he's frozen out. But looks like he's back now. Okay, Tariq, let me just repeat. You've been with the MTM family for quite some time now. What has this organization meant to you and your development?
It means everything, man. From where I started to
One sec. Can you move somewhere, because we could just about hear you.
Yeah. You hear me now?
Yeah, that's better. That's better.
Yeah. I was saying it means everything.
Mm.
Okay. All right, Jay. They have over as you know, they've had the Easter Bowl. They've gone and had the Summer Bowl. They've had quite a few tournaments at Fairmont Southampton. You're back now, Tariq. I saw some movement. And he's had the opportunities to battle the likes of Daniel Phillips, Gavin Manders, even Trey Mallory, Javon Ritter, and the guys that came back from school. It's Dave Thomas is on his way. Well, was on his way back. But go ahead with what the MTM family means to you, Tariq.
I'm sorry about this Wi-Fi situation. It's not
Oh,
the
no
greatest.
worries.
I was saying everything I represent as a tennis player from where I came from. Obviously, I migrated back to Bermuda with my parents, and I wasn't anywhere close to the level of tennis where I am now. But the entire mission of MTM is introducing tennis to people of all ages from anywhere and giving them a chance to have fun with it, whether it's for health, whether it's for networking, whether they actually want to do something with it with ambitions like my own. It doesn't matter. Just exposing tennis to everyone anywhere, particularly in Bermuda right now, but just exposing the game to everyone out there. It's not just football, it's not just cricket and track. Tennis is a wicked sport too, and bringing people out to create a family environment is everything that MTM has done. Gavin, Javon, Earl, everybody. Been a real team effort, and I wouldn't rather be anywhere else right now.
Actually, in a short space of time, you guys have attracted footballers and cricketers to come out of
Oh
the
yeah,
shell
yeah,
to play tennis.
yeah. It's largely due to the pandemic. We've since we're built-in social distancing, we've gotten a chance to attract people that we wouldn't usually get, especially on island. All the Trey Manders. I know we got Rangers football team out one time. It's about it, letting people know that we're here first, and they come to love it and they stay.
Yeah. Were you surprised by some of the guys' ability to understand what they were attempting to do? Not necessarily actually accomplishing what they wanted to do, but the attempt.
Yeah, man, definitely. It's an athlete. Like that's what you get when you're an athlete. You play a lot of sports when you're young, especially. I would think you're talking about the couple out of the Manders family that came and were in the Green Bowl final.
Hmm.
That was an epic. I think that was
And Jakan.
Trey and Khan. Yeah,
Yeah.
they made some stuff that people usually aren't able to do while playing tennis for that short of a time.
Jay?
No, I mean it's just great, and like I said, I've seen the atmosphere down there, and I just think it's just a great atmosphere. Even if you're looking to get a young person involved, I mean the atmosphere these guys provide down there is absolutely top class. But in saying that, three,
Yeah.
let's take Bermuda as a whole. What do we need to do better to bring more people, and not only more people to the game, but get to a higher level? What do you think we need to
It's
do
about
as a
exposure.
country?
The same reason why I left. I went to the U.S. to gain a higher understanding of the game, expose myself to a higher level. So to get people of that level into the island and host clinics, just anything. Like it doesn't matter if it's for a couple of days or a couple of weeks. Just seeing other people playing the game at a higher level inspires the juniors. I mean, hell, it inspires me. That's how I've stuck to the game this long. I see people better than me, and it makes me want to grow into the game. So between getting people from off the island and having people like MTM, I know Coral and the stadium, having people that are already here and boosting them to expose other, well, other types of people, not just the youth, but people in other sports, people that don't play sports. It's all about the exposure. So, yeah, man.
Mm.
Getting tennis
Not
out
sure.
there, especially from Bermuda.
Yeah. Not sure if you're aware, there's I believe, Wayne Montgomery now on island. He's from South Africa, top-ranked player. He played at Wimbledon Juniors, I believe, finishing fourth, if I'm mistaken. I saw him play at the Pomanda Gates a few weeks back, but his level can only help guys in your space only because he will play at a higher level coming from that environment. How much would you say you would want to play someone like that on a regular basis to improve your game?
Yeah, I mean, he's a perfect example of what I was just trying to articulate. Like, having people from off the island coming in and playing is what keeps anyone in the game, like seeing that higher level. Obviously, it's a different situation on the island where people talk about coaching, but I mean, people that are of a higher level of tennis coming and playing that level here. So I couldn't be more excited to have a new person that could potentially be better than me to practice with as soon as I'm out of here. Quarantine, I mean. So I'm excited to get out of here tomorrow and meet him at some point and have him on the court at some point. He's a practice buddy. Hopefully we get a few matches in. All we can do is raise each other's level. So, I mean, he's a perfect example of what your last question kind of stated.
Great. Any final question, Jay?
No, Tariq, I'm just watching you. I'm proud of you, buddy. Take care. And me and John will be coming to see you soon.
You know he's going to be on the sideline, right, Tariq?
That's where I was. Nah.
Unfortunately, it's frozen. Oh, there he is.
Dad, I'm back.
All right. Well, Tariq, I want to say thank you very kindly. Jay, repeat what you said because I don't know if he heard you.
I was saying, Tariq, I'm proud of you, what you're doing. I'm seeing you grow, man, and I look forward to seeing you in the future. I'll be bringing Jai down again to hit some balls off the cones, and hopefully she can hang around a little bit longer,
Wicked. Hey, man. It's always a pleasure. If you don't mind, I just wanted to shout out a few people, specifically MTM,
Sure.
Bermuda Aspiring Sport, the Simons family, SBC, and the Bermuda government for the support and help that they've given me throughout the past, forever, really. Just want to really show my appreciation to everybody. And, yeah, I'll keep on charting.
All right, brother.
Great stuff.
Yeah. We're going to take our final commercial break, and when we come back, we'll wrap up this edition of the Island Stats Sports Show. Thanks, Tariq.
We're welcoming back the often featured Whole Food veterans Bragg Live Food Products, renowned for their live probiotic organic raw cider vinegar and savory seasonings. Paul Bragg is the man behind the products that has originated health food stores, restaurants, and spas, and promoted nutrition education through the media, helping lay the foundation for the enlightened way we make healthful choices when we shop for and prepare food. This month we're featuring Bragg Organic Raw and Unfiltered Apple Cider Vinegar and Organic Extra Virgin Olive Oil. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
And welcome back, Jay. Well, this morning, unfortunately, Caitlin Bob was disqualified from the World Athletic Under-20 Championships, women's 400 meters, finishing third in Heat 3. Her time would have seen her advance to the semifinals. Unfortunately, she was disqualified for running out of her lane. I'm not sure how many steps she was outside of her lane. The camera angle that was showing the live feed kind of showed the angle could not convince me, but obviously I'm not there, I'm not able to watch down the line, so the call was made. Her heat was full of drama even before the race started because there was a young lady from Czech Republic disqualified for false start. So there was some angst at the beginning of that particular race anyway, but unfortunately, Caitlin was disqualified and her under-20 World Athletics Championship came to an end after a remarkable performance, a season best time that she was able to accomplish of 53-62.
Yeah. Tough. Very tough. But I mean, hey, like they said, everything happens for a reason. I don't know what the reason is for this one, and it's hard to, but she will learn from it, and that's something that one thing in sports, we're gonna have these ups and downs, ebbs and flows, but she will learn from it, and hopefully come back even stronger.
Yeah, definitely. Running in lane 8 is always kind of a challenge, and I think from her standpoint, even just rewatching it and listening to the commentators and watching her expression. She went round the final bend even before the girl who eventually won the race that came up beside her. So I think she was more looking to see where the hell is everybody else, because I'm in lane 8 and I'm out here all by myself kind of thing. Yeah. So, as you said, it's a learning curve. She'll come back even stronger.
Literally a learning curve.
Yeah, learning curve.
Literally.
I'm pretty sure she'll run a lot wider now.
Yeah.
But again, with all the support she'll get from not only her coaches in the U.S., but the BNAA family here in Bermuda, she'll get a lot of encouragement. And again, we've seen false starts in the Olympics. We've seen false starts. Usain Bolt false started prior to just an event prior to the Olympics and was disqualified, came back in the Olympics and showed people what they were missing. But hey, if he can do it, Caitlin Bob, the sky is yours.
Oh yeah. And she gave him a taste of what she's capable of, so they all know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I think towards the end she kind of shut it down just a bit too early, and then when she tried to turn that gas back on to finish the race, that's where the body was getting all out of motion, and she ended up falling. But again, she'll learn from that. Run through, as they say. Finish the race.
Yep.
Finish the race. The race don't end before the line. The race ends after the line.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So. And another bit of news out of overseas for Bermuda. Unfortunately, Sebastian Kemp, who was in third place in the ILC Youth Sailing Championships going on over in the UK, he finished fourth. He had been in third the entire time. Well, after day one, he was tied first, but he's been sitting in third for the remainder and went into today's final day. But two unfortunate finishes put him in fourth place, but he finished as the third male because a female won overall, and Adrienne Penroddick would finish sixth in the female and 14th overall. And this is out of some, I believe, 150 odd sailors. So Bermuda doing extremely well on the water. And yesterday it was announced that we will be taking part in the SSL sailing championships, similar to the World Cup of football, where 56 nations will go into an event, and quite a few sailors have been training to make this Bermuda team, which will compete in May and June of 2022. So good luck to everybody trying to make the team. We're just a bit too ill for that, dear Jay.
I don't
unless
have
they put a note on it.
No sail for the punt. So,
we'll be the lookouts.
That's it.
Well, before we go, I do want to thank the members of the Bermuda cycling team that joined us earlier, as well as we want to thank Tariq Simons and wish them all the best in the very near future in their endeavors. Keep making Bermuda proud. We'll be here to support you and making sure that people know what you're doing. And we just want to be able to encourage our young people to stay to the wicket, man. Eventually sports will get its recognition, not just when we win, but when we compete. That's the most important thing.
Well, I'm glad you said that, Earl, because tonight's show has been centered around young people and performing well. And I just want to mention, I'll talk more about it next week because this weekend, the Hiscox is putting on their skills fun day again for the youngsters, all the way from the Pee-wees up. So I get to see some of the real youngsters who will be introduced to cricket, and that's always something fun. And sometimes we forget about the real young ones. We got back to cricket this year, but we almost feel like we left out the young ones. So Hiscox has made sure that the young ones actually get to have their tournament. And also Junior Eastern County. We talk about Eastern County, the men's, but we never talk about the youngsters. So hopefully after the weekend, we'll have some results and some of the outstanding performers in those two fun days of cricket.
Yeah. I wonder if we'll have the fallout that we had when people first heard that Central County was going to be on Western County. Because now the BCBs put on their event on those same 2 county days.
Yeah, but I mean, let's if it was in a non-COVID, I think everybody have something to gripe about. But realistically, when you're talking about something that's COVID, league started late. So with the leagues starting late, Central County, we all know Central County is normally being played in June. Western County don't really start the first week of July. I think there's an overlap, maybe the first week. There's an overlap, and then the Hiscox thing is normally in June also. So it's something that, but once again, we're in COVID, and we want to make sure that everybody. So I hope that all thinking about, yes, people want to win, yes, there is competition, but also development is more important. I believe it's more important that we have young people. So I'm fully supportive of this young. Fun day for the kids because they do not take part in Central County. They do not take part in Western County. Now, the parents might or the family might, but let's give something for these kids because we know right now there's so many other things that they could be doing, especially distractions.
Oh, definitely.
If you have them play the sport and learn the sport and have fun at the sport, I'm totally supporting it. So hopefully the naysayers, as you just mentioned, I hope they hold their mouth until next year. Now, next year, if there's some scheduling problems, please bark up all you want. But for this year, close your mouth.
Gotta go. Have a good night.
Have a good one, bro.
All right.